Welcome everyone to the MOOCs to Masters, How to Stack from Coursera into Gies Business at Illinois. We are very excited to have you all here tonight or this morning or this evening or this afternoon, wherever you are located in the world. Very excited to have you here. We are going to get started a little bit slowly here today so that everybody has a chance to get their Zoom set up and get ready to have a great webinar. So my name is Kate Deering. I am an admissions coordinator within Gies Online programs. I focus mostly on a little bit more on the recruitment side. And I have some guests with me today, but before we get to our guests, I did want to mention that at any point during this presentation, if you have any questions or would like to connect with somebody from our recruitment and admissions team, there is a QR code right up in the top left-hand corner of your screen. If you just scan that with your camera, a little form will pop up and that will kind of shoot us a message and we'll be able to reach out to you sooner than later so that we can just start a conversation with you. So welcome. So let's get started. We're hoping that you are here today if you've taken a Coursera MOOC and are just kind of curious what the next step could be and other options that you can pursue within Gies Online at the Gies College of Business here at the University of Illinois. I'm joined by my colleague, Marcus Phillips. Marcus, do you mind introducing yourself?
Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Marcus Phillips, Associate Director, Recruitment and Admissions for Gies Online programs. Just like Kate, I work more on the recruitment side of things. So we are happy that you are here. We're here to answer questions. So we look forward to the conversation.
Excellent. I did want to mention that we also have another colleague behind the scenes, Allison Houdina. She is going to handle the Q&A as well as the chat. So if you have any questions at all throughout this presentation for Marcus or myself or one of our special panelists that are here today, please add those to the Q&A feature. The Q&A feature is really the best place for those questions so that everybody can see your questions, everybody can learn from those questions and answers. If you have just comments and kind of fun chatter, feel free to add that to the chat. So I'm excited to introduce some of our special guests today. We thought it would be a great way to share some information about the program, to have some students who have been in your shoes. So I will have our first student panelist, Abu Bakar, introduce himself. He's from Nigeria. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Abu Bakar Abdullahi. I'm a management consultant in Nigeria, and I'm also an IMBA student at the University of Illinois. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're excited to have you. Our next guest is Flavia Jones. Flavia, can you introduce yourself?
Sorry for the pen. Hi, I'm Flavia Jones. My nationality is Puerto Rican American. I currently live in Texas, and I work for AT&T as a lead financial systems analyst. And I'm also an IMSA student at Gies. Nice to meet everyone.
Thanks, Flavia. So we have an IMBA student as well as an IMSA student here today to share their stories with you as well. So if you do have questions for our students, go ahead and throw those in the chat, or I'm sorry, in the Q&A, and we will do our best to answer those. So I am going to turn it over to Marcus for a little bit. He's going to go through our agenda and take it from there.
Thanks, Kate. So we have a lot to cover today. So we're going to talk about the Gies Stackable design. We're going to cover the learner journey steps, including the application process, credentials, costs. This is where our students will come in and talk about their experiences. And then we'll finish up with a Q&A for the webinar. And so I want to just kind of touch on the three main qualities of the Gies Online program. So whether you're interested in learning a new skill or just earning a full degree, you know, our Stackable online programs are definitely here to help you like reach your goals. So the three qualities will include the flexible options. So our programs are 100% online. And so your graduate certificates, your degree programs, they're all flexible, 100% online. So you can actually do your classes, your coursework from the comforts of your home or your office. It's also the stackable design is something that we're going to touch on a lot here today as well. And then the online by design, this is set up where we have a really strong infrastructure in place. So our IMBA program, for example, started in 2016 prior to the pandemic. And so we wanted to make sure that the quality that you receive is high quality and that the infrastructure that we design is really strong and have a strong network for you to learn throughout your educational journey. So these are the three main qualities of our Gies online programs. And so our content is highly engaged as well, and I'll touch on this here shortly. But you can do this without giving up your career, without giving up time with your family. So we want to make sure that you have that opportunity. So the stackable education, right? So you do not have to do every step in exact order. So there are different ways you can do this. So you're going to go to the next slide, Kate, and we'll talk a little bit about the stackable education. So each credential builds into the next, right? So starting off, for example, you can take 2 Coursera MOOCs that will stack into a non-degree Illinois course. You can also do a non-degree Illinois course, which will stack with 2 additional courses into a graduate certificate, meaning that these courses will go right into the grad certificate. And then the grad certificate, you can stack into an iDegree full-fledged program like the IMBA program, the IMSA program, or the IMSM program. And we have more visuals to kind of show you from a different angle what this looks like. So throughout this journey, you can learn new knowledge, targeted knowledge, right? So we want to make sure that it's just not a hard start and a hard stop. You can continue your journey even if you finish a degree program. And so we want to make sure that what you're learning, you can take that information and apply it on the same day to your job, right? And so it's learnable and it's outcome driven. So we want to make sure that you get the best return on your investment. So there's a little motto that kind of shows how you can stack your degree. So if you want to go to the next slide, Kate, and it kind of gives you a visual with how it can work. So as you can see, you can start off. This is just an example. You can start off taking a free online course through Coursera or a MOOC, right? Massive online open courses, and as a non-credit specialization, okay? Then you can move up to a 4-credit course, right? What I just mentioned on the previous slide. Once you complete those credit courses, you can stack that into a graduate certificate. And as you see, it's stacking up to 100% online graduate degree program. So this is just another visual of how you can stack your learning, starting with Coursera with your MOOCs to ending up with a full 100% online graduate degree through the Gies College of Business at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. Now, that's just one way that you can stack, right, your coursework. But if you go to the next slide, there's multiple ways that you can stack your coursework. As you can see, right, you can start off taking a MOOC or a non-credit course in the first example, and then you can go right into a graduate certificate. And then you can probably come back and say, hey, you know what, I want to take a Illinois credit course. And then you can finish up with the 100% degree program. So again, there's various ways. And again, we want to try to meet the learner where they're at. And different learners have different journeys. And so we want to make sure we're able to accommodate those journeys for each individual learner. And so if you want to go to the next slide, Kate.
Hey, Marcus, can we pause real quick and ask just maybe our panelists where you guys started? Did you start with one of these MOOCs? Can you share that information? Abubakar, we'll go with you. Which credential did you start with and why? Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, sorry about that. So, so I started with a specialization in strategic leadership and management. It's a MOOC available on Coursera. I wanted to learn about business strategy, essentially. And when I went there, I found that it was part of a 6-course specialization at the University of Illinois. And then this was on Coursera. And it was while I was taking that and the learning I was getting that then I found out that the specialization was also part of the IMBA program. And then that was how I started to explore. And it's a long story. If I start telling it, I can just keep going on. If you want me to keep going, I can. But yeah, I took those 6 specialization and then I did a capstone, and that offered me the specialization in strategic leadership and management. And I took the learning that I got from that and I started to apply it directly to my work. And it actually took me 2 years, funny enough, from doing that specialization to getting into an IMBA program. But I just knew at the back of my mind that I wanted to stack this to the next level. I just wasn't ready. And I can see lots of the comments here. People are talking about time, finances, and all the other things. I think if you've ever thought about doing an MBA program, not the IMBA, but generally an MBA program, which is the one I am on, you can't have a more flexible program than this one, because I work, I'm also married and I have 2 kids, and I can't imagine doing an MBA any other way than in this program. So I'm sure we'll talk about the flexibility later. But if time is your issue and maybe financing is your issue, I think this is also the cheapest MBA program you can find in the market. But we'll talk about all that, I think, as we go along.
Okay. This Flavia again. I'm gonna say that for me, when I started this journey, as a lead financial systems analyst at AT&T, we have internal, like an internal university that had Coursera in there. And I was contemplating for many years of doing my CPA again. So, but I didn't want to go back to school just to relearn what I learned in my undergrad, which was also accounting. So the buzzwords that in the office are talking about Power BI, Tableau, all these new tools. So I took a Coursera on data analytics, and I wanted to know about the technical side of accounting, more so learning a new program like R or Python. Python is also a big buzzword in the big corporations. And Coursera had intro to Python class as well. So I took one, which, you know, it was sponsored by the company. And then I noticed that it was, the professor was from the University of Illinois. And I always kept that in the back of my head. And then the next step was I decided, why not go for my master's? But for all of you back there worried about time, again, I had just given birth to a baby boy. So he was only 6 months when I joined the curriculum. And because Coursera was so flexible, and I got used to the self-studying, I decided to apply for the I degree. And another important fact is that the University of Illinois is ranked in their accounting program. And even though Texas may hold the probably #1 spot, they're way more expensive. But we can touch base on that again.
Thank you all. That's really, really important to hear. I'm gonna go to the next slide, Kate. And so here's just another visual of the Gies learner journey, right? I talked about the Coursera MOOCs, starting there with those courses, and then you can stack them into your non-degree Illinois courses, onto a grad certificate, onto a master's degree program. And again, this isn't the only route that you can take, but this is kind of just wanted to break it down and make it kind of simple, in simpler terms, to show you how you can start off in Coursera, taking a MOOC, end up completing a full online master's degree program. I'm going to the next slide for me, please. So let's talk about what each journey entails. And so the first step typically would be the Coursera MOOCs. So these are non-credit asynchronous courses that are kind of career aligned training, right? You can earn your digital certificate. You enroll through Coursera in these courses. So there's videos, self-assessed quizzes, assignments, peer evaluations. And can two of you, I guess, explain in your words what taking a Coursera course is like? So Flavia, Abubakar, can you talk about what a Coursera course is like in your own words?
Okay, so for me, taking a Coursera course is like attending this webinar basically. It's watching videos, then doing some, reading at your own time. So it's actually very flexible. You get to watch the videos on your own time. Sometimes I watch videos on my mobile phone while I'm in traffic and things like that. And you can schedule time to do that. But then you also get to do some additional reading for some of the courses, and then you do your quizzes. Sometimes you get quizzes that also request you to work with other people, or you do peer-reviewed learning and things like that. It's actually very flexible, but introduces you to a whole new knowledge area and opportunities. And so that's why I like the Coursera courses. And also the flexibility and how cheap it is to then, pay from a free course. After you've started the course, maybe you've gone 2 weeks and you see that it's going to be valuable, you can then pay to get a verified certificate and things like that. And I just love that aspect of it.
Hi, everyone. Sorry. For me, because I was doing the data analytics track, what I liked about the Coursera is that the videos are short. So I have a very short attention span, and the videos are about, I would say 1 week's lesson would be like an hour and a half the most for 1 week, but it's in increments of about 10 minutes or less. Sometimes it could be even 45 seconds intro. Secondly, because I was taking such a technical Coursera video, what I really liked about it is that you can download the tools for free, like a web-based Power BI or AlterX, or maybe if you ever heard of these, RStudio or Anaconda. These are the tools you need in order for you to program. And what I like about Coursera is that the professor would give you access to this, and then you would actually be coding along with him on the Coursera course. I'm going to tell you right now, I've never coded in my entire life, but now I know 2 languages thanks to Coursera. So those are the main things I wanted to say, that short videos, flexible, and they give you the tools, the real tools that you're going to use in real life. And you do practice while you're doing the courses. So it was really good, valuable.
Thank you all. Thank you for your input. And so talk about MOOCs, right? And so let's move on to non-degree courses, okay? So these are actual University of Illinois transcripted courses, right? These will come on your transcript from the University of Illinois. So there's Coursera content there, right? Coursera content is kind of like the textbook to say, for your course. And then there's a high engagement component, all right? And so those two make up the non-degree course, University of Illinois non-degree course. Curated, there's Stackable. Again, there's engaging. We have top faculty teaching these courses. Of course, you will have great classmates and great peers like Flavia and Abubakar. And then there's a brief application process for the non-degree credit course. And then there's the cost towards the bottom of each course. So that what makes up a non-degree course, University of Illinois transcripted course. The high engagement component, like I said, it's you're going to have the textbook Coursera piece, but the high engagement component is kind of building up on that, right? And so there's going to be live weekly lectures, really a live session, like a 90-minute live session. There's going to be team group projects, sometimes within those sessions where you can break out into groups in Zoom rooms and tackle maybe a case study or a challenging question. And then there's peer-driven discussion and tutoring offered as well. And of course, we have faculty office hours, right? And so that's a high engagement piece of it. And so, Abubakar and Flavia, can you talk a little bit about your experiences with the high engagement component of your courses?
Flavia, maybe I should let you go first this time.
Thank you, Abubakar. So in the high engagement part, it's different in the Coursera. We actually talk a lot about what we learned that week in module 1 of Coursera in the high engagement. But when you take a live session, which we call the high engagement, it's like you're being in the classroom in person with your students, just like you see us now on the panel. And you get to engage with the teacher about the topic. They do polls that keep you engaged, questions and asking you through Zoom. And what I liked, especially for my auditing class, we would have breakout rooms and we would actually go through case studies in the live session, which is really neat. It's almost like you being in class and you being put into groups and you have to solve cases with your fellow online students, which makes me feel like I'm actually in the classroom and not in my room studying. And then there's also homework and questions and exams, just like if you were in a live college setting.
Yeah, and for me, the high engagement component is actually what I didn't expect, initially when I just took Coursera courses, because they open up a different area of learning that you get. So you're attending these live classes, you're meeting people. I've made so many friends from the live classes, and they're flexible because they try to fit different hours, so that at least no matter where you are, there's an hour that's flexible for you. And so you get to meet people. And so if you attend classes at let's say 3 p.m., which is like when we started this, so you meet people who attend all the classes at 3 p.m. and you build sort of this same feeling that you feel from, attending in-person classes with people. You get to do, the group work, you discuss case studies, you discuss real life events. For example, we're just talking about, in the money and banking class that I'm taking right now, which is part of managerial economics. We were talking about, the banking reports that are just coming out in the first quarter of 2023 and the performance of banks, and people in the banking sector are giving feedback. So it's so enriching, the high component sessions. And you discuss case studies, that are real and happen in real time. So I'm talking about articles released yesterday that we discussed earlier today in class and things like that. So you're looking at content from New York Times, Wall Street Journal, you're analyzing that in class. These are real life things that you're actually discussing with real people. And the connection is amazing for me, because you get to, I'm in Nigeria, right? And you're talking to someone in Texas, you're talking to someone in Singapore and things like that. And everybody is talking about the same thing, trying to solve these problems. And so it's highly engaging. A bit challenging as well, because there's a lot of work you need to get through, but the flexibility and the timing of when you need to submit the work also it's that. And it's designed for people who work in any case, so you have enough time to go back, do your research and submit your work. And I find that really.
Thank you. Yes, and within the high engagement component, right, there's a survey that goes out and the professors try to pair learners with other learners, in the same or similar, close time zones, because we have a global community of learners from all over the world, and so we try our best to match you with in a group with someone that's not 12 hours away, more so like 1 or 2 hour time difference. And so once, the next journey will go probably to a graduate certificate, right? So you have your MOOC courses, then you have your non-degree Illinois transcribable courses, and then you have your graduate certificate. These grad certificates, these are stackable into your graduate degree programs. And so we have 5 graduate certificates that are listed on the screen. And so these are standalone 12-hour credit certificates. And so again, they're going to have, the MOOC part of it, and then we're just going to have the high engagement component of it, right? And so there's a brief application process with certificates as well. And again, stands on its own and is stackable into the I degree. So I think there were a couple of people that mentioned that they're working on a certificate. Yes, once you complete one of these 5 certificates, you can stack that certificate into one of the 3 fully online degree programs. So after the certificates, then we'll touch on the 3 degree programs that we do offer: the IMBA, the IMSA, and IMSM program. And so the IMBA is kind of like our largest program, but it's our oldest program that started in 2016. And again, all 3 degree programs are going to have the Coursera MOOC component and the high engagement component, right, to it. And so as students mentioned, all 3 degree programs will have, that high level engagement, live sessions, and there's going to be folks from all over the world, from different backgrounds, different sectors, different experiences within each program, which adds to a very rich learning environment. Next slide, please. So the MBA program, just kind of give you some quick facts. It's going to be hard pressed to find a program out there with the quality, the flexibility, right, the infrastructure at the price point that we do offer. And then one key thing about all of our degree programs is you pay as you go. So you're not paying the program up front or in half. You pay per class. And so that's something to keep in mind as well. It's very flexible, right? You can complete the program 24 to 36 months. It's really dependent on your needs and your schedule, right? We do offer 4 intake dates: August, October, January, March. And so we try to make it as flexible as possible for when you can start the program. 72 credit hours, and so it's going to cover not only just the breadth, right, but the depth of business. And then there's 6 specializations that you can go into, and you choose 2. And within those specializations, there's 2 capstone that you have to complete, and then a final program capstone. So that's one quick fact about the MBA. Next slide, please. And so there's some outcomes, basically. So I know 70 out of 100 Fortune 100 companies are represented. Again, we're going to have, professionals from all over. We've got a lot of seasoned professionals within various fields. 61% of our students in the program receive a promotion or accept a new job, because we have a very active learning body, right, and learners, and so they actively engage with each other. Networking, and you hear more about networking on the latter part of this presentation, but that's a big piece of our program. And then 22% average pay increase as well. And then you see the numbers at the bottom are in the 90s, and so that talks about the quality of our program. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, our MBA program was named the Online MBA Program of the Year for 2022 by Poets and Quants, which is kind of like the premier online business site. And so, they attribute it to the flexibility, the price point, the networking opportunities, and the infrastructure. So that's a huge recognition for a program, because there's so many MBA programs out there. And so to be named by a premier business website, that says a lot about the program. So the next program is the MSA program. And so Flavia has had the expertise in this program. As you can see, the cost, it can vary, based on your elective courses. Again, 18 months to 36 months. In all these programs, you have up to 5 years to complete these degree programs, right? But these are just, some the numbers where some people will complete in 18 months based on their schedule and their needs. Others may, extend a little bit. It's okay if you needed to take maybe an 8-week course off because something happened in life, right? But we have a full-fledged, advising team that will assist you with degree planning, policies, or what have you. There's 2 start dates for this program, January and August, 32 credit hours, 5 core courses required, and then there's 3 elective courses or data analytics concentration as well. So you can kind of, add a little bit more concentration into what area you want to go into. I know analytics is pretty huge for accounting, and so that's become a very popular option. And then the next slide, please.
Marcus, can I ask one quick question?
Oh, sure.
Flavia, I'm curious, like we're presenting this MSA information. How do you feel like, starting in the MSA program, how is that different than just earning a MOOC certificate? I think we're getting a lot of questions in the chat and the Q&A on a lot of people have just taken the MOOCs and they're just curious why that's not credit. So can you just share a little bit more about why the degree or the 4 credit courses, how those are different than just earning that MOOC?
Right. The MOOC is only probably about 1/3 of the degree program. And if you're serious about becoming a certified public accountant in the United States, which majority of the IMSA students are, majority are trying to get the credits so that they can sit for the CPA exam. And then there's some that are CPAs that are coming back just to have the masters and training on the concentrations. But it is very different from the Coursera MOOCs because the MOOCs are just showing you, they're showing you the lessons on a, I don't want to say a high level, but they are teaching you the lessons, but you're not getting the overall in-depth deep dive that you get with the actual degree course. It is way harder than accounting classes are really hard because they're also 16 weeks long. MBA courses are 8 weeks long. And that's because each core topic, for example, if we're doing managerial accounting, which is 4 credits. 4 credits means that you're doing 2 18-week lessons on just that one core topic. And that core topic is equivalent to for you taking the BEC exam in the CPA. So the degree course is geared to get you prepared for the CPA if you want to do it. It is not, it's not training you halfway. It's giving you the actual, you're doing the actual standards. You're actually doing everything you would actually learn to be a CPA. So it is very, and it's also, like I mentioned, ranked. So it is credible. Illinois, all the states, we have students from all over the USA that are taking the IMSA and are going to sit in the CPAs in their jurisdiction or their state. So these are very detailed and challenging courses.
Thanks for that clarification. I know there was a lot of questions on that. So
Yes, definitely appreciate that. And then lastly, our Master of Science in Management, or IMSM program. It's what any student can come into this program. With the MBA program, there's 3 to 4 years of work experience. That's part of the requirement. For this program, if you want to, gain the foundational understanding of business fundamentals, this would be a great program to go into. Of course, the cost is quite low. And then students can complete this program in 12 to 24 months, right? It's only 36 credit hours. There's also 4 intake dates as well. And so the program, there's 6 core courses that are required. Then you have some elective courses as well. And again, same concept, high engagement component to this program as well. Next slide, please. And so I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Kate, to talk about the experience, the student experience.
Yes, there's been lots of questions about networking. Before I get to that though, I do want to just jump in real quick. There's lots of questions about taking Coursera courses, excuse me, taking Coursera courses, and does that earn Illinois transcript credit? So I just wanted to jump in and just visit exactly what Marcus said. But if you've taken a Coursera MOOC or two, that's great. You have and you've earned that completion certificate. You then can apply and take a non-degree course, for instance. That would be a 4 credit hour course at Illinois. Those 2 MOOCs, as soon as you are admitted into the program, we will link up your Coursera account and our platform, which is called Canvas. And those 2 MOOCs will kind of migrate over. We'll see that you completed them and you'll earn that completion grade. So you don't necessarily have to repeat those, but remember, this is a 4 credit transcript credit Illinois course. So you do still have to complete that high engagement component. So you earn completion credit, but it's not really transcript credit as far as the Coursera MOOCs go. Those are really great foundational material in our courses, but there's still a lot of additional information through the group work and the high engagement components that we will include. So I know there's a lot of questions on that. Hopefully that clarifies, and we can revisit that here in a minute. But I did want to get to some of the networking opportunities that you will have as you move through the learner journey and you kind of take that next step to become a Gies learner within one of our degree programs. We have lots of opportunities, and I think a common question that we often see is like, how, what benefit am I going to get from joining a Gies course, a 4 credit course, compared to like taking that Coursera MOOC. Especially when it's just in this virtual environment. And the answer is there's lots of opportunities. There's 2 kinds. There's Gies-led opportunities that we as Gies employees and the leadership team that we create. And there's also student-led opportunities. So I just wanted to touch on the Gies-led opportunities first. We have many of those, and just a couple are listed here. iConnects are meetups that happen all over, really domestically, and we often have these internationally too. We're kind of ramping up a little bit more here since COVID started, but these are meetups where we'll bring in a professional speaker so that you can have some leadership development, and then we'll also invite prospective and current learners to these events. There often will be a faculty member there as well. Those are really great. Immersions are offered domestically or internationally. These do have an extra cost involved, and there is an application process. So these are typically a group of 30 to 40 students that apply to take on this challenge, I guess. And they'll work with a company. We just had one in Houston where they work with a company on a specific project and also work with various stakeholders in the community. And then this last one actually ended in a kind of a competition on the last day where each group presented to ExxonMobil on a specific topic and gave them some really real project-based ideas that they could actually use to solve that problem that they presented. So really cool opportunity. Those also can count as a capstone project if you are an IMBA student. And then lastly, we do have iConverge. This is our fabulous kickoff event every year that we host here on campus. We invite all of our alumni as well as current students, and we have some professional development. We have the leadership team present, and I think we had 22 faculty members at this last fall at that event. We have lots of fun. You can go to a tailgate. We have a big group that goes to the football games as well. So a very excellent networking opportunity. And then moving on to just talk a little bit about the student-led opportunities. One opportunity is workplace. And so as an admitted student into one of our programs, one of our degree programs, you will have access to Workplace, which is a Facebook group, a social media group just for our students, where they share ideas on job searches, study groups, they share degree plans, all kinds of things. And social events, social posts. So it's just a great resource. The students are very active on there. And one thing that they often do host are student-led meetups, and they kind of originate a lot of the times on Workplace, where a student will say, hey, I live in Champaign. I would love to meet up with some students that live close to me. And then they'll meet at a restaurant or a coffee shop. And then they have this kind of instant group close to home. So that's something that happens all the time in our programs. And then lastly, as both Flavia and Abu Bakar have talked about, the group work and the group projects in our high engagement component of the Illinois courses. So you're going to have this group of 4 to 5 students in every 8-week class where you're working on a project, you're scheduling meetings with them and getting to know them as well. So so that's another great opportunity to network with your fellow students. I just wanted to ask Abu Bakar, what's been your favorite way so far to network in the program?
Well, personally, I'd say workplace. Workplace is quite interesting, for the simple reason that the topics of conversation are so diverse, and you get to meet different types of people. So it can be, think of it like a social network, where you also talk about classes. So people travel and post, beautiful scenery, and then you find out someone is in your city, you get to meet up and do things like that. You get to meet so many people, you get fun stories, you get some quizzes, you get news about the sports team, when they have a game. It's so interactive and so many people, and then new students are always added, and then they introduce themselves, and you get links to professional sites, LinkedIn, get so many new connections for work, you get job placements, people asking for, oh, my company needs to hire someone in this location. Do you have a referral? Do you know anyone? It's actually really cool, because I think Workplace is the kind of tool that even in-person programs should have, because I think even in in-person programs, some of the connection opportunities that exist on Workplace don't exist in those in-person programs, because I've been in in-person programs in my career before. And I know that sometimes people are a bit more reserved, when they meet in class, but the flexibility, and the fact that you can go back and check posts later can be very beneficial even for an in-person program. So I find it really cool. But there's also the one that you haven't highlighted here, which is Yellow Dig. It's, for my data analytics class, we do a lot of work on something called Yellow Dig. Oh, it's incredible, the amount of knowledge that gets shared there and all that. So I love the interaction opportunities on Workplace.
This next slide just kind of highlights what we had this last fall, the iConverge that we just hosted, just to give you guys an idea of the students that are there. The photo on the right is all of our female students that we kind of gathered for a photo. And then we did host some of that event in the State Farm Center, which is our basketball arena here in Champaign. So it was really fun. But you can see how many students that we had here, as well as countries represented. So it was a really great event. I'm just going to move through these next couple. These were just a couple example slides of what we've been talking about, these networking opportunities. These are a couple posts that I found on Workplace. One is a mom. She's taking some of our courses with her daughter on her lap. We often see a lot of graduation posts of really thankful students. And then this picture on the right was a couple students that connected through the program in a different country. So these opportunities happen pretty easily on Workplace. And then here's a couple pictures of student meetups. And Flavia, I know you were at our Houston meetup last week. I did want to just ask you what that was like. We hosted an event in Houston at the end of an immersion, and I actually got to connect with Flavia there. Can you just share a little bit briefly on what that was like for you?
It was really fun. I live in Dallas, and so I took the bus to Houston, which is almost 3 hours and 45 minutes away, and to do the iConnect meetup. And I had used workplace to reach out to fellow IMSA students and ask them to join me, which they did. And it was lovely. It was sponsored, you know, they had food for us. And it was a nice farmers market in Houston. And it was also my first time being there. So it was almost like, you know, a little field trip for me. And then afterwards, we met up at the hotel where the immersion students were staying. And it was a nice swanky hotel in Houston on a rooftop. And it was really fun. You know, they had a DJ. You get to experience that. It almost feels like a business meetup as well. You know, everyone's there talking about courses and when we're going to see each other again. And it's really, it's fun. It's not always hard work. You get to play too. So it's really nice.
Thanks, Flavia. As a degree student, and I just wanted to touch on another resource that you will have, and that's our Student and Academic Success Team. This is our advising team. They will help you with your degree plan, pairing courses. They often have office hours. They are there as a resource for you to help you through, you know, any type of process that you have to go through, or class recommendations, anything like that. So you're not in it alone. We have a full team to support you. Okay, many questions about applying. So this is just brief information on the application. You're welcome to reach out to us. We can explain all of this in depth, but the first step would be a non-degree. So say you've taken a Coursera course and you want to try just a non-degree course. That could be stacked towards a degree or a graduate certificate if you decide to in the future. Very brief application process. You basically just have to acknowledge that you have a bachelor's degree, which is required for all of our degree certificates as well as our master's degree programs. And so that application will just take you, I mean, literally probably about 5 minutes. Moving on from there, if you're applying to a graduate certificate program or the degree programs, it gets a little bit, there's a couple more steps. And for those, we will need a resume, we'll need your unofficial bachelor's transcripts, a personal statement, and then we'll also need a TOEFL test if you are an international student. Moving on from there, an additional requirement that we also include for the master's programs is 2 letters of recommendation. So those need to come from at least one supervisor or previous manager, and then we just need those name and emails of those recommenders, and we actually take care of that and email them a form that they fill out with some questions where they rank you, and then a couple open-ended paragraph form questions. Very simple. It's not a huge lift for your recommenders. Let's see here. We don't require the GRE or the GMAT for any of our programs, so that's a plus. And we do have a couple scholarships, and I've seen a couple questions in the chat on this. We do offer one great scholarship in partnership with Coursera, and it is based, it's need-based as well as diversity-based, and that scholarship is focused on making our program more accessible and also in alignment with our goals of impacting our global community of students. And then we have one other scholarship for just IMBA female applicants that awards 1 female per term, a $20,000 scholarship that's looking for exemplary leadership and also diverse backgrounds and looking for females who have demonstrated a commitment to advancing women in business. So 2 great opportunities for scholarships there. So just to wrap the application process up, if you do apply, we usually take 1 to 2 weeks to review your application. We'll reach out to you with missing materials or a decision, or we'll invite you to interview. So all of our admitted students do we'll have an interview to be admitted into the program. We just want to get to know you a little bit, really make sure that your goals match up with our programs, but nothing to be stressed over, but that is part of the process. And then that whole process is pretty quick. We do turn applications around pretty quickly. So quick question, I guess, as we wrap this up for Abubakar and Flavia. Flavia, I'll have you go first. I know we covered a lot of information today, just on moving from a MOOC and kind of the many steps that you can take to move ultimately to earning a master's degree. Do you have any advice for some of our guests that are here that have just only taken a Coursera MOOC? And can you share a little advice for them?
If you have taken a Coursera MOOC, again, that's only about probably 1/3 of the work required in the degree program, depending if you're doing the MBA or the MSA. I do recommend that you do the prerequisite Coursera's before you do the iDegree, or as you're seeking your iDegree application, because once you're already signed up and registering for courses, you may not have time. So it is flexible, but the volume gets a little bit more intense when you're doing the degree program, because you have to commit to more deadlines on Canvas and on Coursera as well. So I think what I can say for you is, if you're interested in something like data analytics, I say try the Coursera first, so that you can know if you really want to do programming. You may be interested in global supply chain, or you may want to do mergers and acquisitions. This Coursera gives you the opportunity to see what a class would be like, and you would get a feel for the topic before investing in it, in a degree where you don't know if you're going to like it or not. So Coursera gives you that opportunity. So I really advise that you browse the Coursera's and the different courses that are aligned with the university, and give yourself a peep into what it would be like when you actually do the degree program. And good luck.
Great advice. Abubakar, anything else you have to add?
So for me, I think what helped with taking the Coursera courses first was, I tested my discipline, because you have to be a self-starter if you want to do an online program, especially a full degree program. So judge yourself on your ability to complete Coursera courses. I know, initially I had a few people who would start Coursera courses with, but never, had the commitment to complete them and dropped off. So one of the first few things that Coursera courses will teach you is discipline. If you can put yourself through the discipline of self-directed learning, then you're halfway through being able to get through an iDegree program, because the principles are the same. Yes, when you get into the iDegree program, the work is a lot more stressful, but again, the flexibility helps with that. And you get to attend, the live sessions, and you get to ask one-to-one questions during office hours and things like that. So in a way, even though there's more work to be done in the degree programs, there's more hand-holding than in the Coursera. So it's deeper learning with better hand-holding, when you're doing the iDegree. So essentially what's most important is getting to know that you have the discipline to complete those Coursera courses, and take that as leverage to then start to apply for the degree program. Closely related to that, I would say is you will never understand how flexible the fee structure is until you get into the program, because even while I was applying, I didn't think the flexibility will be as much as it is right now. And we know lots of people I saw in the Q&A and in the questions were talking about, being able to afford the program and things like that. I think I've never seen any other program that offers the flexibility of you, being able to pay for only the courses. So if you're taking only 8 credit courses in a term, you only pay for those 8 credit courses, and you get to, structure it the way you can. So when it comes to flexibility of payment and time, I think it's incredible, and the opportunities are limitless. So get the discipline and be open enough. Don't close yourself off if you think you can't afford it. Try applying, see if the scholarship is something you can get in. I must say that I am a beneficiary of the scholarship, and it's been incredible for me. And so I want to, of course, thank Coursera and Gies for the scholarship. But the opportunities are endless, and just give it a try.
Thank you so much for that great advice. Really, really good advice there. I did see just a couple of questions. I know we're really close to wrapping up here. There's been several transcript questions, and in order to apply for the graduate certificates as well as the master's degree programs, you do need unofficial transcripts, and those need to be just a picture or a scan for your application. Any of our degree programs and the grad certs, once you are admitted, we will give you about a month, and then the grad college will require official transcripts that need to come directly from your university to the graduate college here. But for that initial application, as long as you have a picture of your actual mark sheets with your courses and your grades, and then also your certificate of diploma, that's all we need for that portion, and we'll need those for any degrees that you have earned. So just wanted to clarify that. Our next deadline is coming up fast on February 2nd if you're interested in starting in the IMSM or the IMBA program. And then fall applications are open, and those will be, we will have our first deadline, which is our priority 1 deadline with the most benefits, and that deadline is May 4th. So that's coming right up. I am going to just flash this QR code here real quick, and then I'll stop sharing. Allison, any themed questions that kept popping up that you'd like us to clarify real quick before we wrap up?
I think we've touched on most of them, Kate. A lot of questions about how those Coursera MOOCs relate to our 4-credit courses, which I think we've covered pretty thoroughly now. That was the biggest one.
Well, that's great. There's been some really great questions in the chat. So we're really thankful that you all put all those questions in there. I hope that everybody was able to learn something about all of the Gies credentials that we offer and the unique stackability that we have, and that you can really find something that works for you on your timeline and when you want. So I think if there's not any more major questions, we'll probably wrap up. I just wanted to thank our guests, Abu Bakar and Flavia. Thank you so much. I know you guys are very busy. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing your experience with all of these learners. And Marcus, of course, it's always a pleasure doing these webinars with you. Marcus and I, what's that?
I said likewise.
Marcus and I are here, and as well as Allison, we are here for your questions. This is our job. We would love to work with you and figure out which path is right for you. We can talk about your goals and really help you understand moving from Coursera to a Gies credential. And so with that, I think we'll wrap up. Thank you so much for everyone being here, and we hope to speak with you soon.